All right, so thank you guys for joining. This is another Flutter Vibes session. I'm really honored to have all of you join. It's always nice, and I would like to kick it off. Today's event, we're talking about platform channels. Does anyone have an idea of what platform channels are or is? Any idea? Yes, no, yes. Okay, and before we even kick off our topic, let's just talk about the rules for this event. Number one, we are always learning together. Feel free to chip in, to contribute and all. Don't be scared to ask questions and also to answer questions. These are the vibes. The way they happen is you unmute or you raise your hand and then you chip in to the particular topic, discussion, argument, whatever people are talking about. It's just free. There are no rules to, oh, we have a specific speaker or something. So yeah, that's how we roll. And then be respectful, considering that it's a whole community that we're running. It's always nice to not to burn bridges. And the final thing is, don't forget to have fun. You learn as you have fun. So yeah, enjoy yourself to the fullest. I believe we learn the best when we're having a good time, right? Yeah, yes. You agree with me? Yes, I believe. Thank you. But yeah, don't forget to have fun. So moving on, what are platform channels? Does anyone know what platform channels are or has a bit of insight on it? Yeah, saying bridge of communication. Yes, that's actually very true. But would you want to expound on what you understand by bridge of communication?
Okay, thanks. So bridge of communication, meaning in the sense that Flutter, since it is it is a hybrid one. So if you want to maybe take some functions calling the native side directly, so Flutter channels is the procedure to go.
So that's it's communicating between the native side and Flutter.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that's one of the good explanations. Yeah, that's correct. Thank you for that. Anybody else with any other explanation? No? Yes? Okay. Okay, cool. So, sorry. So maybe we could try to reason out together. So have you ever had a particular project you're working on, which is cool application that you like, but then whatever you want to work on, you're working it on with Flutter, but it doesn't have a way you can implement it without going the native way. But then you don't even know how do I go the native way, considering that maybe you only know Flutter and you really need to implement this feature. So if your project requires a specific feature that's not supported in Flutter, or it's easier to implement it on the native side, you need to establish communication between native platform, just like what Enos said. You need to have a communication channel that's able to speak between native and cross-platform. So this is where platform channels come in. Now that we've explained that, I believe that we have a couple of guys here who've probably worked on platform channel, but then maybe they didn't know this is it. but then you understand, oh, we had this application that needed to communicate to the native side. It would be really nice to like know how you navigated through, especially the Android bit and the iOS bit, considering that you're writing like different languages for you to like go through it. Anyone? Oh, okay. Maybe I should call some. Oh yeah, we have Enos. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so for me, from personal experience, so there's an implementation in regards to NFC. So NFC, it is quite, since it is much dependent on the device sides too much. So like on Flutter, like I was researching on how to do it, it seems somehow like impossible task, but you could easily find implementation for Android. So, and since I was much focused on Android, but using Flutter, so I had to write an implementation from the main activity, just like in a normal Android using the Kotlin. Then through MethodChannels, I could be able to access it on the Flutter side. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. And then when you're writing it on the Android side, what language did you use? Because I know you can either use Kotlin or Java.
So as for me, I use Java.
How was the experience? Did you like try to like compare between Java and Kotlin?
Okay, so for my background, like I initially started from the native side, that is initially using Java. Then since then, that is my career wise. Then there was a moment whereby Google switched to Kotlin as an official language. Then I switched to Kotlin, and then currently I'm majorly focusing on Flutter. So navigating between the two is somehow easy, but I cannot just put out like comparing between the Java and Kotlin in terms of writing.
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Does anyone else have an experience on this? And also, if you have like the code base, is it okay if you could show us like how you navigated through it?
Okay, so I'm currently on fintech industry. Maybe I'll try just to sample it out and share, but the current implementation from the app, I don't think if it will be possible.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can share the little that is possible. Okay, so okay, yeah, cool. So if you want to connect to your application on Android, then you can either use Java or Kotlin, which Enos has also very well explained. But then we also have like another native side, which is iOS. Does anyone have experience on the iOS side?
Hello.
Yes.
You asked for code base. I think I have something here that I can share. But it's Android.
Yeah, sure. Let me try making you a co-host so that you're able to like share. Okay. Yeah, feel free. Let me stop sharing my code. Okay, yeah. Now you can share your side of it.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this app in particular was just It was meant to access the USSD of the device.
Mhm.
So it's not as polished as I would have liked it to be. But you can see what Enos mentioned, the method channels. So I had one to get the battery level.
Mhm.
This one I wrote it in Kotlin.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're free to use whichever language you choose between Java and Kotlin. And primarily this was focused on USSD. So you'd make the USSD request using this function. And then since it's like basically you're making a phone call,
Mhm.
this was just a test one. So to just do a *144 hash to get your balance. And if you've worked with Android before, you're familiar with the fact that you need to get the permission. So call the phone, read contacts, all of that good stuff. Then from there, I had one for USSD to make a call to a callable URI. So in this case, maybe you pass like a phone number, or maybe what are these called? This service provider numbers, I think. So like *144, *544, whatever. So you could do that through this function. And then to call it, you'd go to your, I don't know if this is visible to everyone.
I hope it is. Yeah.
Yes, so to call it, where is it? Okay, you would have to excuse me, the code is a bit old. As you can see, it still hasn't been updated to the latest version of Flutter. But let's see if I can remember where I called it from. Yeah, so once you've made your native function, you'd now create a function on the dot side, and then now make a request to the platform to invoke the method. So in this case, maybe make a USSD request, which is the same function that you've specified here in your main activity. Yeah, so it's try maybe making a version that's better commented. I'm trying out a new theme, so the comments are not easily visible.
It's okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so I hope that's able to help some people. The same can be done on iOS, but I hadn't given it a try. But maybe I can put something together and share it to the group.
Yeah, that would also be nice. You can put something together. I see you have like the battery, checking the battery percentage or something, and then the one for checking out the USSD.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be nice, because this one feels a bit more advanced.
Okay, so I think I can take it. I can hand it over back to you.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Kevin. Does anyone have a question on that? Did anyone understand? No? All right. Okay. Feel free to just unmute your mic if you want to ask your question, because when I'm presenting, I'm not able to see. All right. So Kevin already took us to the code base, but I had prepared something little for this session, checking out the battery percentage as well. Let me try to share that particular code base. How do you share more than one screen? Oh, okay. So I've tried to like run this code on Android and iOS and on Android and iOS for now. All right. So there's a chat. Can I ask any other question about Flutter? Yes, you can ask any other question about Flutter. Okay, cool. So whenever you're writing a project, so this is like a real just a new fresh project, and I've tried to like come up with it. So for this particular one, we're trying to like get the battery percentage for our devices. And we start by, I wrote a stateful widget for this, but I guess you can change. But the very first thing that you need to do, you need to like construct, or rather to create a method channel. And that's the very first name. And then for this particular name on your method channel, it needs to be like very unique, so that whenever you're trying to like invoke it from either native Android or native iOS, then you have like a very unique name. Yeah, for my example, this is the name that I chose to go with. And then after writing this particular line of code, then the next thing you need to like add the Kotlin code that uses the Android battery API to retrieve the battery level. So how do you go about that? So it's very, very simple. You basically just open the Android folder and then you open in Android Studio. And then you navigate your way to the main activity, this particular folder. I've never written Kotlin code before, but so it was really fun working on this. Yeah, but let me try to like explain the thing that I understood with it. So after getting here, what's the next thing? So the next particular step rather is to add a configure Flutter engine method. And how do we add the Flutter engine method? This is where we do that, the magic on the Flutter engine method. And then after that, you need to like set method handler. This is to handle the single platform method. Set the, where is the set method handler method? Oh yeah, I added it here, but then at the end, when you're advancing to it, you might need to like just comment it out, because you need to like add now the API for checking out the battery level on this method channel. I hope I'm explaining it correctly. And then this is where all the magic happens. You're able to like get this method to check out the battery level, and it should also check if the result is successful or it's not. And then after that, after you get the battery level, this also tests for this is in the call argument. So you need to like implement the call argument so that you're able to like continue with it to check out the results. Okay. Does anyone understand this particular view? Assuming that you've checked the documentation. Brian.
Yeah. Hi. Sorry, I didn't quite get that.
So I'm trying to like explain the Kotlin native side of writing the platform channel, and then I wanted like somebody else to like try to explain it in a different way that maybe guys are gonna understand more.
Oh, okay, sure. I'll try, but I think you gave quite a good explanation. But what I've understood from the Flutter documentation with our platform channels is whereby you're able to write code on both native platforms, so either Swift or Java or Kotlin. And then from there, you invoke the Flutter engine, and then you send it a string that represents the method you'd like to call. So as an example here, the string you're passing from Flutter is get battery level. So if you pass that string through the method channel, and then now it hits the native side of Flutter, we just check. So if it's get battery level, in this class, we've defined get battery level as an instance method there. So if the method matches the get battery level, we call it manually there. And then I will return the result back through the method channel back to now the Flutter engine. Then now the Flutter engine is now able to render that on the app. So I think this happens on both sides, Swift and Kotlin. So basically, I think what you just do is you just code natively, define all your methods, and then now you use strings as if statements to be able to actually call them now on the native side. Yeah. I don't know if that was a better explanation.
That was a great explanation, actually. Thank you for that. I think also we have like Kevin, you tried to like speak.
Oh yes, I was just going to give an explanation, but one more watered down with references to something that maybe some people can relate to. So I don't know if we have any Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole of Kenya.
Yeah, so if we're using Game of Thrones as a reference, think of the platform channels as you're all familiar with the 7 kingdoms, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so think of the Flutter app as the main kingdom. So now basically King's Landing, and each other operating system supported by Flutter as the other kingdoms. So for something to happen, like let's say maybe there's this thing they would often say where you say call your bannerman, where it's like saying you want to go to war, so you're calling your bannerman to come and rally at your side. So in this case, you could think of the platform channels as maybe like a messenger who just sends out a message and says maybe in this case I want the battery level. So the battery level in this case could be like whatever war you want to fight. So that particular kingdom knows how they're going to approach the issue. So Android knows how it's going to fetch its battery level. iOS knows how it's going to fetch its battery level. Same thing with Windows, Linux, and whatever other platform will arise. Maybe a Vision Pro will be added to the mix. So once you send out that message, the platform, whatever platform, would handle it however they deem fit. So maybe let's say like the Northerners know how they deal with White Walkers. The Kingdom of Dawn knows how they deal with Sand Snakes. The Kingdom of the what? Okay, there are so many I can't keep track, but you basically get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
that
so so everyone knows how they deal with their issues. So the Northerners can adapt to cold. However, the guys of Dawn, they're used to staying in the desert. The guys of the Lannisters, they know how to deal with gold and whatever. So when you make the request, the platform handles it however it's designed to handle it. So Flutter itself doesn't have to go into the complexities of getting the value that they want, the value that the app wants. So in this case, maybe battery level, the result of maybe like making a phone call. But at the end, all you expect is the result. So in the same manner, you'd find like the king in King's Landing wouldn't necessarily have to go to war himself. He'd just sit and be at the war table. He waits to get the message that this kingdom has won, or this and this was done. And that's the message that was delivered to him. And then now he moves on from that. I know it's a bit of a long-winded explanation, but I hope it's made sense.
I think it actually has. I think for me, actually, nimeona in an even better perspective now. I think I even understand now platform channels better.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the rest of the group.
Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for that. I think it's time to go and watch Game of Thrones, so you understand. Probably you think of platform channels if you haven't watched it. But yeah, thank you so much for your explanation on that. I hope that was well understood. Yeah, great. So this is the code base that you have on that, on trying to like get the battery level. So my other question, since you guys have like more experience on this, let's say it's not only the battery level that I'm trying to like get on the native side. Maybe I have something else, like probably accessing the camera or giving permission to record or something. So do you like write different methods for that, for those other use cases, or how do you go about it?
Sorry, could you repeat your question?
My question is, let's say you're trying to like have different other use cases for your Flutter application, for example, accessing the camera, and then we have like to check the battery level, or something like maybe accessing the mic. So how do you write like all those other parameters? Do you like write them separately, like they have like their own folders, or how do you go about it?
For this case, I'd say try to keep the platform channel use to a minimum, because you don't want to get to a situation where the main activity becomes too bloated. So what I would advise is things like the camera. Flutter kind of has support for that natively. And so I'd suggest maybe just restrict it to things like maybe battery level, making phone calls. Maybe if you choose to, if you're making like an Android Wear or watchOS app, that's where platform channels would come in handy. And also if you're making a home screen widget, although to be honest, locally, in all the years I've been developing, I've never seen a local developer who's made a home screen widget. But it's one of the best use cases for platform channels.
Okay, so with that particular example, let's take home screen. So how do you like write the code base for that particular thing, considering that you have like, let's say 3 scenarios that you want to access the native side with? Do you like configure them like probably in their own folders, files, or how do you go about it?
Okay, yeah, there you'd have to split them up, because like a home screen widget has its own functionality. And you see home screens are restricted to the native platform, because the way Android handles a home screen widget is not the way Apple handles the home screen widget. So the widget to require you to make another class, but then you can, for the sake of cleanliness, maybe you can split the class up.
Okay. All right, cool. I think I get it. Thank you. Does anyone else have any question? All right, then I
I had a suggestion, an addition actually. So initially, in regards to the addition of, let's say you have like, say there might be more than one, maybe functions you want to implement from the native side. So the proper way, I think I like to use switch. So you see the first statement whereby you're comparing the call method name, like
Yeah.
to get battery level.
Yeah.
So like different function, let's say like the one that I had for NFC. So this is whereby you'll be comparing like which execution process should the particular calling follow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So you go the switch way. But how do you write like oh, Amma, there's a way you can just write that natively.
Sorry, I didn't quite query.
The way you mentioned using switch, can you still write it on native, or there's a way that they write natively, like writing the switch? Because I know how, I actually understand what you're saying by switch, but then I don't know how to implement it on the native side. So
Okay, I think the way it is similar, just the way you're using it on that. Also, even you can use, I always avoid using the if else, but you can also implement here. So like here, the first statement you are calling, check the call method if is equal to the get battery level. So if it is not here on the else, maybe you can have a different else if check the call method is equal to NFC or a different functionality that you want. So instead of that, I usually tend to use switch to simplify and make the code base clean. But even though it's still the iteration process.
okay.
If I can share my screen again.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so for the question you're asking, how to split them, you can see here I have the battery level at the top, and then an else if with a make USSD request at the bottom, and then the default one in case none of the results are met, with the results not implemented response. So this is the simplest, but you can use the switch as Enos is saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes a lot of sense then, because I was just wondering, like, if you have more than one parameter, then okay, how do you go about it? Okay, cool. Got it. Thank you.
Okay.
So we can check the iOS bit and possibly try to like run an example to see what we're trying to like talk about. Also, I think this is one of those interesting things to do because you get to like write more than one language.
Excuse me. I just wanted to ask Kevin. So, you want to, because you said that you keep the platform channel usage to a minimum. So on pub, I thought there are those there are those packages, like there's a camera package and location package. So do those help to keep platform channels minimum? And also, do they like, are they very responsive? Like it's very fast. Like, does it work very well as compared to writing platform channel method channel?
Okay, so yeah, for me, I'd advocate mainly to use packages because first of all, the rule you need to remember is you don't reinvent the wheel. So if you can avoid writing that code, you avoid it, because once you write that code, the responsibility to maintain it falls on you. So it means that if, let's say, maybe something about the Android platform was to change, you'd be the one charged with the responsibility to update it. So ideally, I'd recommend, like, if you're importing a package, you just check the platforms it supports. Make sure that it supports all the platforms that you want it to support right now and potentially in the future. So in my case, I have this one, like the video player. So for me, the video player, I had to make sure it supports Android, iOS, the web, Linux, Windows, even though I'm not making an app for Windows or Linux, but you never know what can happen in the future. Things could just change and you find maybe you need Windows. But then making the shift sometimes can be such a burden that you'd spend more time tending to the code than the time you would have spent implementing features. So it's kind of, I don't know if you ever have this feeling where you work on something until you get bored, because it just feels repetitive, because it's like you fix something, then something changes, then you have to update it. So that's why I'd personally try to stay away from platform channels as much as possible, unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't know if I've answered your question. Hello.
I think so.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. So let's move to the next bit, which is the iOS side. It kind of similar, it kind of looks almost similar to the Android one, because ideally what we're doing is we're trying to like create methods that or rather create a platform that still communicates to the Flutter side. And on this side, you just try to like open your iOS folder on Xcode. But since I've already written this, so let's just move to the Xcode bit. Again, also here, you create a Flutter method channel. And with this Flutter method channel, it needs to have the very same name that you implemented here. This is why we're saying you need to like have this particular string to be, rather the method, the channel name to be unique. And yeah, you try to like call it here. I really don't want to be a bit biased because I've never written Swift code, so my explanation might not be like the very best. However, I'll try my very best. But if you have any experience with writing Swift, please feel free to knock yourself out. Okay, so after defining it, or rather creating the method channel, then you need to like add an iOS Swift code that uses the iOS battery API, which in this case will be this particular block of code. So this is where it needs to like know you're trying to like get the battery level, and also you need to like add a call. Where did I add that call? Oh, okay. And there's something that I also encountered that's a bit interesting. Let me try to like comment this one out. And then you need to like call it to call the argument that calls the iOS code within that calls the iOS code here. Okay. My explanation, I know it's pretty off. However, I would like Brian to like probably explain it a little bit better for us.
So like the whole section of the app, or
No. That's just this particular bit for the iOS side.
Okay, sure. So I think on this side, what we're basically doing is the same thing we're doing on the Kotlin side. So we define an an instance method. So it's called receive battery level. And then on the main, this set method called handler, we do a conditional check. So we check whether the method matches the get battery level. If it doesn't match the get battery level, we return the Flutter, the exception for Flutter method not implemented, and then we return from there. Otherwise, if the method does match the get battery level, we invoke the instance method. Now there where we've written self dot receive battery level, and then now we pass back the result. So one thing though I didn't understand here, I think maybe I think it's Kevin now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the name. Up Labs. Maybe jump in. I want that self dot receive battery level. I'm seeing there's a null check there, where self.
Yeah.
If self, yeah. So what I was trying to understand is how can self be null if it's calling an instance? Because at the end of the day, this class will eventually be instantiated, and then now self will be called. I don't know if anyone is conversant with Swift and iOS.
Personally, I also don't know. However, there is something that I tried to I encountered an error while trying to run this particular view. I really don't know why you need to have the null pointer there. However, I realized you get a compiler error that says app delegate has no member. So when I checked it, I tried to remove the particular bit and the app was running. However, when it runs, it doesn't really execute or give the output that I was expecting. So this self thing is important, but I don't know. I don't know much about it, and I also don't understand why we need to have the null value there.
Yeah, I think it's also what I think I've worked with Java. You can do this dot the instance method, and you're sure that this would never really be null because it's an instance method. So yeah, that was quite confusing to me for a bit.
But does this mean it's null or nil? What's the difference?
So okay. So I think for Swift, I think nil is the same as null in maybe Kotlin and Java. So basically, I think undefined.
I see. Okay, thank you for the explanation. Does anyone have any question on this? On the iOS bits? And I also think, maybe if you have more than one instances that you want to call from the native side, you probably do the very same way we tried to explain on the Kotlin side. I think so. All right, so let me try running this particular piece of code. And there's something also I learned today that if you want to see exactly what's going on behind the hood, you add the -v, the verb rows. Okay, so I'm running on my first device. Let's see. I hope it runs. If you want to show to display the application, how do you go? Screen mirroring. Oh, how do I mirror my screen for you guys to see from my app instead of trying to log in? Does anyone know how to mirror a screen?
A screen for an emulator or for the phone?
For the phone.
Do you have Zoom on your phone?
Yeah, I was like trying to like just mirror from the computer without joining the Zoom. But okay, let me try to join.
Recording in progress.
Oh yeah. Okay, let me try to like present now. Okay, yeah. Is it showing from your end? Oh, nice. Cool. So this is the application that we try to like run. And then when you try to get the battery level, you're able to like see that the battery level is 100%. But sorry guys, you're able to like see now that when you try to like click the button, and this button we try to like implement it from the native from rather the Flutter side. So yeah. Okay, I will open room for any questions and feedback. Oh, we have a question here from Null Pointer. He's asking, does the method channels run on the same isolate as the main app? Kevin, are you at a position to like answer that?
Yes, it does. Essentially, everything is packaged within the same. Okay, they all run within the same sandbox. So remember that Flutter is just like, how do I say it? Flutter is just like I don't know. I like real world examples. So if you've ever, I don't know if maybe I'm dealing with the cool kids, but if you've been to a Kenchik, when the guy is if you order chips or chicken, when he's wrapping them up in that white wrapper, you can think of that as your app. So it's basically running within that sandbox. So once you leave with your wrapper, everything that happens within that wrapper is restricted to it. So if, let's say, you were to pour a sauce on it, that sauce is not going to affect the person who has bought maybe bhajias in their own wrapper, unless you combine the contents. So yeah, each app together with the platform channels, everything They're all isolated to each individual sandbox.
Okay, great. Thank you. I hope, null pointer, you've been answered. Yeah. Okay, but now that we're talking about now platform channels, are there any pros and cons of these particular methods of dealing with things? So I was checking out some stuff and I could see like one of the advantages of it is that it is secure. And when we say it's secure, this means that we are dealing with any whenever you're dealing with any communication, whether you're talking about communication between two or more apps, the communication inside the app with that and native code, the logical question arises like, now, is it like really secure? So yeah, it's very secure. And that is one of the most important benefits of the platform channels. And I think this is because within our processes, there are memory buffers for communication between data and the native code. So there is not any process communication required to establish this communication. That there's no way that any other outside process can access this particular communication. I hope that was like a explanatory. And another thing, since the platform channel is a communication view, which itself is like asynchronous and bidirectional, this means that the platform channel doesn't block any execution of other tasks that are independent to the native code. It doesn't, like, whatever tasks that are happening on the native side, the platform channel doesn't interfere with that. So because again, it's asynchronous and bidirectional. And then another benefit is the serialization and the deserialization of values to and from messages that happens automatically whenever you send and receive values. So in other words, this represents the valuable benefits of platform channel along an ability to use the protocol buffer for serializing structured data. Do you guys know what protocol buffers are?
I think gRPC or yeah, I think I'm familiar with gRPC.
gRPC in full list?
Google and then remote procedural calls. They usually use protocol buffers now to serialize their data. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Which are also the language neutral platform, neutral extensible mechanism for serializing structured data. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, precisely. Are there any disadvantages for this?
For protocol buffers?
No, for platform channels.
I think from what I've seen, I think maybe it could be cumbersome. If you have a lot of methods to find and you want to call all of them, then you have to define this string constants on both the Android side, like the native side, which is Swift and Android, and then also define them on the Flutter side. So high chances you might maybe misspell either one of those strings. So that's an avenue for a bug.
Yeah. What about the fact that they can only be called from the UI thread, or rather from the main isolate?
I don't know if that is a disadvantage. Okay, that could be a disadvantage if maybe your main thread is doing maybe processing intensive work.
Yeah, but there's also something that Kevin mentioned about not wanting to like have a whole lot of junk on your code base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it will affect now the user interface and how the user is interacting with the app.
Precisely. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Do we have any questions, any comments, any clarifications? I think we don't have any more questions. So for my last slide, I would like to thank you all for sticking through the vibes. Thank you for chipping in, and I hope we learned, or rather, have a clear understanding of what platform channels are. I look forward to like seeing what you guys are gonna build, and also if you have any problems, kindly feel free to ask. Yeah, sure. Thank you guys. Let's meet on the next event. I'll post the next event right on time so that people are able to like do a bit of research, and whenever you come to the vibes, you're able to like chip in. That's the whole point of these events, just to chip in. Yeah. Yay. Nothing much. You guys have a good one. I'll see you next time. You're also very free to leave the meeting.
Sure, thank you. It was a great session.
All right, thanks.